Think yes, we are live. And welcome, everyone. So glad you're back here with us again. I am very excited for many reasons. Number one, we have this wonderful guest that will be joining us in just a moment. You might see him below. Um, and I will be introducing you to him in just a few minutes. But I first like to go over maybe some announcements and just a couple of things that are on my mind. In particular, as I always mention, you usually see me coming right off of another call. You usually hear the music playing as I am getting us started on our call here. And that is this wonderful call called Think and Grow Rich. Now, it has no affiliation with any business. There's no selling on that call. It is strictly one for your mindset. It is a fabulous, strong, and powerful call that we just read this wonderful book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and various other books similar to that. And then we have a mastermind afterwards. And it was interesting that today we were talking a little bit about sometimes we get discouraged in what we do and we get frustrated and we have some of these thoughts that we have that kind of bring us down a little bit, and we're all human and we all have them. Yet we want to be able to, in these calls, help lift you back up. And that's why they're so important to attend these and be engaged in these, simply because that is what we need to keep ourselves moving forward, keeping the energy among ourselves as a group and as a team to encourage each other to keep moving forward, because unless we quit, we will continue forward to our goals. But we can only truly fail if we quit. And the whole goal is that we continue moving forward. And I encourage you to join this call. It'll be an amazing uplift and a different way of thinking that's going to continue to assist you on many areas of your life. So the way you can get the information that you need to attend this call, if you have never heard of it before, is www.thinkandgrowrichaudios.com, and you can get all the details there. You can join the Facebook group. You can get the downloaded ebooks that we read, and all the phone information, even for the replay information. So if you can't attend at 9 o'clock Eastern every day, Monday through Friday, you can listen to the replay. Okay, so also for the team members listening, a lot of great things going on. Last night on the Power Hour, you heard about our new product. We want to make sure that we are up to date in what is going on that. Maybe Scott and I will even talk a little bit about that if you'd like. But get hooked into our calls, into the morning calls, and I'm going to have Scott talk a little bit about his fantastic group and his concepts behind why he has put that group together. We had a brief discussion last night about it, and I just really have to say I liked the thought process behind the why behind his group, and that it's working for him. And so I really want you to kind of get really hooked into all the various trainings, the trainings and the calls, the hangouts. They're all provided for you and for your success. And for those that are not part of this business right now, which is Empower Network, I am a representative of and a very excited person around this business because of the support we get here, and that everything you could possibly want is at your fingertips. And if one way of training doesn't resonate for you, we have 10 other ways that you could do the same thing that might just suit you a little better. And so this is what's so amazing. There's not just one way and then you don't understand how to do that. And you have access to all of us. Whether you can get a hold of us on a Facebook group, or for myself, I'm always there via the phone, believe it or not. Yes, you do not need to make phone calls in order for you to do this business, but I am available once you get on board and I can and you show me that you're truly serious about what you want to do here. I make myself available as well as many of the other leaders are there to support you because our bottom line is we want you to be successful. It's important for us. We have a dream of our own and we want you to be part of that dream. So please, if you're interested, this sounds like something that you would like to find out more about. I'll give you more details towards the end of this call. There is a button below. You can go ahead and get yourself started, and I would certainly be there for you. So, with all these announcements and all this information out of the way, I'm more excited now than ever to introduce today's guest. Scott Small comes out of Chicago, and so he's a little bit earlier here than we are. And Scott and I have gone back, gosh, I think it's got almost 10 years now that we've known each other, Scott, believe it or not, and thrilled to have him within this company. He is such a great role model, honestly, for all of us. And his story is wonderful. It kind of goes to match what I had mentioned in the invitation about, you know, we don't get here and have success immediately. We all have to start from the beginning somewhere. And then we become the pros, and we become the pros through consistent, persistent action. So, Scott, I'm going to hand it over to you. You've got so many wonderful things going on for yourself and your team and your special hangouts and helping others as you do. And you've certainly helped me in so many ways and so many times. So thank you. I hand it over to you, Scott, and we'll talk in a little bit more.
Well, thank you, Jesse, and thank you for having me here today. I appreciate having the opportunity to share where I've come from, a little bit of my story, and hopefully people that see this will resonate and just really understand that no matter what happens, it's really all about focusing on your goals and what it is that you want to accomplish. And when you have that perspective, the things that the challenges that we have, which we're all going to have them along the way, really take less energy away from where you're really going. So just briefly to tell you my story, I came out of the car business. I had a dealership for over 30 years, and what happened in the economy, like so many people, when the economy crashed, I really found myself in a position where I had to do something to reinvent myself. I already was working at what I was doing 60, 70 hours a week, and I gave up a lot in terms of things that I missed out on in my life. I ended up getting divorced. It was a strain on my family. My relationship with my kids, all the things that really took me away from being as present as I could be. But I thought at the time I was doing the right thing for my family just by producing and creating income and putting them in a place where they'd be comfortable. But the bottom line was we were all sacrificing. I was spending time away. They were, I wasn't as present and being able to do things like go to baseball games and concerts and soccer games and all the things that we all as parents would want to do, but because of the time constraints of what I was doing, a lot of times I was traveling, I was doing things where I just wasn't home, and for that reason, I really found myself at a place where when the economy changed, and I had to look around and say, well, what is it that I really want to do? And I was in a position where I wasn't necessarily willing to put in more hours for less pay. It just didn't make sense. And the business model that I was in and the way that the car business was really changed drastically after September 11th anyways, and it was a struggle to find a way to survive, and I did, but yet ultimately it got to the point where I really had to make a tough decision as to whether I wanted to try to pursue what I had always done or to find a different way to reinvent myself. And that's how I came into working from home and doing things, from home. I've always been an entrepreneur, and it really, I'm just not one of those people that would make a great employee. I actually did have a job for a while after I, closed my dealership. I went to work for a big dealer group, and I pretty much had, autonomy in what I was doing. And since I was making money, they didn't really question my, the ways that I was doing things because, they were profiting from my experience. But at the end of the day, it wasn't me making my own decisions. I didn't control my own fate. I didn't really have, the ability to carve my own future. I was still subject to, a boss and someone that was dictating to me, ultimately what I would get paid and how things would come together. Whereas in the past, I really had grown accustomed to, really surviving on my own efforts. So, there's a saying that somebody that I've heard. It's like, I was always in a position where if I didn't kill, I didn't eat. Well, I was okay with that because, I was willing to do whatever it took to create a result. So ultimately, when I had a job, I wasn't quite in the same position. Now, in some ways, it was better working with somebody else's money and, not having that stress. But yet, I still had constraints on, what I could do, and there was, all kinds of politics and things like that involved in working for someone else. And it just, it served a purpose at the time, but I always have been an entrepreneur, so I wasn't necessarily satisfied being in that position. And ultimately, I started looking into a couple of home businesses. That's where you and I first met, and it might be 10 years ago. I'm kind of thinking now. It was a while ago, anyways. And when we got into that business, what we ultimately found was the owners of the company, decided to change the business model, and ultimately what happened is it just wasn't profitable anymore. They took things that were working, and then they decided to reinvent what they were doing. And unfortunately, a lot of people that had invested a lot of effort and time and certainly money into the business model really found themselves in a place where it wasn't working in the ways that it had in the past. So I went through a couple of different businesses working from home, and one of the problems that I found was, the basic business models just didn't work because you couldn't make enough money. And no matter how many people you would bring into the business, the commission structure just wasn't, to the point where you could actually create an income that would give you the lifestyle, or give me the lifestyle that I wanted. So I actually came across Empower Network. I was in probably about my fourth business, and we were working in energy deregulation at the time. And what I found had happened is they had told us going into this that, if we brought in customers, we would basically be building a residual for life, because, customers that are using energy, it's not like they're going to stop using energy. So, it seemed like a fairly logical thing to do, but, then I ran into some integrity issues with the company. And at the renewal time, they weren't necessarily, they were sending out renewal letters to the customers that I had brought in. And, I was kind of in that strange space of just not feeling like I could, in good conscience, bring people into the business. So if I was getting, if I was being put in that position, so would anybody else that I would bring into the business. And then the customers, were being solicited by the company. So, but I also was challenged at the same time to find a way to market. And the real struggle in most businesses and in most home businesses is finding a way to be able to get more people either as customers or as team members or people that are joining you in the business. And when you run out of resources, people that as they talk about talking to friends and family and people that you have an association with, ultimately you're at a point where you have to find a way to expand your reach and to be able to market in a way that's actually going to be successful. And I had looked at Empower Network actually 6 months prior, and I just wasn't really ready at that point to take the step forward. I didn't quite relate to the presentations and the things that I had seen, and I didn't look at it hard enough. And probably in hindsight, I should have moved sooner rather than later, but I was finally at a point where I was open to it. And when I did revisit it and take a look at it for purely finding a way to market, figuring that, at least if I was more efficient in marketing, I could, even though I was in a moral dilemma of not, being treated right by the company, I at least knew that I needed to find a way to market no matter what I was doing. And that's really what Empower Network brings to the table, is, like you talked about earlier, giving you the ability to really get a result and truly market on the internet, or whatever way that you're choosing to do. We have the training for that, and we have multiple ways of connecting with people and really getting the word out for either customers or to grow your organization. And the more I looked at what Empower had to offer, and the compensation and the ways that they had to be able to really put you in a position where you can have success, where you can afford to do the marketing, that really, caught my eye. And when I paid attention to it, I really saw that the business model was better than anything else I had done before. And when I got into Empower, I was in that place of, closing down one business, transitioning to another, and my success didn't come quickly. I was one of these people that was fairly analytical, and I wanted to figure it out and know more than I needed to know. For an example, if I was almost to the point where, really what I ultimately found out I only needed to know. So let's say if I was turning on a switch in a room, all I really needed to know is if I flip on the switch, the light goes on. But in my case, I wanted to find out more about it than I needed to know. So was the electricity generated by coal, or was it nuclear, or was it hydroelectric, or whatever. And by paying attention to the things that really weren't getting me the results, it held back my results. And when I finally got to the point where I could get out of that mode of having to know everything, and just really trusting in the fact that the system worked, and all I really needed to do was apply it with belief. And I can say I basically went from thinking about the business to believing in the business, and it's kind of like going from my head to my heart. And once I allowed that to happen, which I really was able to accomplish by attending an event, being in with people that were getting success, and just realizing that they were really no different, no better, no more talented than I was. They just were, more focused on going forward than trying to figure it out. And once I had that shift, well, my results have taken off. So, my first 3 or 4 months, I didn't have much in the way of results to really show. But, once I got past that, this business really took off. At this point here, I've made over $100,000 here with Empower Network, and of course, my results aren't typical. We do have an income disclaimer, and it's in empowernetwork.com/income. And what I really saw was that the business worked, and it worked not only for me, it worked for other people. And the whole idea here really is that we all succeed together. And it's not about me being the only one that's successful. It has to work as a group, as a team, as in working together, we create a result. And by doing that, what we ultimately create is something that more people than just one person is having success. And that's really the secret to this. And one of the things that I found that was a shortcoming in some of the other companies. And then the other real major thing here is that the leadership of the company truly believes in the vision of creating success for more people than just the top people. It's all about creating a wide success and having a lot of people be successful. As the owner of the company says, he doesn't want to be the richest owner of the company, he wants to have the richest team. And they truly do live by that philosophy, doing what they can to try to put us in the best place to have the results. And they certainly keep moving forward in that direction and doing things to help us create results. But when you've got that kind of leadership, you don't have the kind of things that have happened to me, where in the past, the owners of the company, had a disagreement and they ended up changing the business model, or the company itself, which when I was in the energy business, it was owned by a publicly traded company, and of course, they had a different agenda. It was to, really help the stockholders and not necessarily help the people in the field doing the work. So, what I've really found here with Empower is that, there is a real vision of creating success for people, and they really deliver on that. So, that's really how I started and how I got here and how things have come together for me. And the other thing that Empower brings to the table is, what Jesse talked about earlier, and that's really giving you the tools to believe that you can have the success, and then, working through, with, let's say personal development and things that, create, more, gives you more to offer. In other words, the more you believe in what you're doing and the stronger you become as a person, the easier it is to be successful and to share what it is that you've learned with other people. And, when you're operating from a place of belief, then, you really can get a result. And that's really what I've found that they're, help us with here is, it's not just about marketing. It's not just about having a business model that works. It's really giving you the whole package and giving you the tools to grow as a person as well. And those things all coming together really are what makes this a unique business opportunity and can create results for anybody that's really willing to roll up their sleeves, go to work, and get to the results and allow it to come. So that's my story in a nutshell. And I hope that anybody that's out there that's thinking about or starting into a business, just realize that this is, what I say a lot of times, this is really a marathon. It's not a sprint, and you have to take the longer vision.
Yeah.
And too many people get involved in something, and if they don't get an immediate result, which certainly can happen here, they're off to the next thing. Well, the only way to really get a result is to stay the course and really focus and learn what it is that you're going to be taught, but also being in a business model that creates success. So, when you're surrounded by people that are getting success and you realize that, all they've done is really followed the training, stayed the course, and been focused on what they were doing and focused on their goals, then, what will get you the same results is to do what they've done.
Right. Yes, Scott, that just, amazing. Everything you said is exactly so right on target. There were so many little pieces that I wrote down as far as notes. You mentioned you wanted to change the way you had been doing things. You no longer wanted to put in more hours and give up, well, basically no more hours and have less pay. You wanted to have more, and you especially saw that, losing those hours, and I totally can relate to you with the automotive business. I was a GM of a car dealership myself, so there is no days off, honestly. You work 7 days, 24/7, and it is a tough industry. So I can totally relate to where you ended up as far as, you kind of get burned out and you just want to find a different way. And I am sure that is what so many people out here are looking at and finding a different way. And then the point is that, all it does is take a decision, as you did, even though it took you a while. And I'm an analytical person, and we want to evaluate and make sure this and that and the other thing takes place. And yet the bottom line, to make it, kind of more concise, as far as saying that what I needed to do, and as well as you're, expressing, is that you really want to keep it simple. Is it that you want a different way of doing things, and then finding a vehicle, an opportunity that will be able to give that to you? Then, this is what we came across and found with Empower Network. And like you said also, maybe initially you thought this would be a great way for you to generate leads and learn a little bit about marketing and find a way to increase your income or the business that you were already in. And then what you were pleasantly surprised with is about this amazing community, the commissions, all the other components. But, you know, nothing wrong with, you know, learning how to better market either, because that is kind of a long-term value, which is something I just heard recently. We offer long-term value, right? We offer a way to learn a skill, and you have that for the rest of your life that will take you to whatever business that you would ever get involved in. Not to say that you wouldn't want to be in this business long term too, but that you're also adding value to yourself. And when we have additional value, and what I get very excited about is that then I feel I can offer value to someone else. And that's what it's all about. It's offering value to others, sharing what we already know, sharing what we've learned. To me, it's real important for me to want to get the information out to others so that you too can see that there is a better way, to offer hope to people who may not feel that there is a way out, and that there is actually, and at a very, very low starting point, cost-wise, so that you can start to slowly generate and begin to learn and find out more and more about what we offer here. And it goes back to kind of the title about we got to begin somewhere, and everyone progresses differently. Everyone's journey is very different. So it's a habit we all have, and I do it too, is to compare ourselves with others. And if someone else is speeding along and seeming to have better results than maybe I'm having, then we tend to say, well, why aren't I doing it like, you know, at the same speed as them? And that is probably not the best thing that we can do for ourselves, right?
Well, no question. There's no question about that, Jesse. And well, first off, I didn't realize that you were in the car business as well. I didn't know that you were the manager of the store. That's interesting.
Believe it or not, I was in the technologies business, and this is where my journey was beginning to shift. And I just was burned out in the technologies business. I was a district technical manager for a software company out of New York City, but actually their corporate headquarters was in Paris, France, which wasn't so terrible. But I just got burned out, and, you know, I just was looking for something different, and this was something that I thought would be fun in getting involved in, but boy, it's a lot of work.
Well, no question. You do give up. I mean, no matter what you're doing, if you're going to be successful, you have to dedicate yourself to it. And, you know, the difference, of course, is with this business model, you have some flexibility, but you also have the potential of an upside. And you are working for yourself, and that's important. You know what? I've got to close my window here. They're doing some construction at the neighbors, and there's a lot of background noise. So give me 1 minute here.
Yeah, because a couple of things that Scott mentioned, and I took so many wonderful notes that he was talking about. I do want to make sure he talks to us about his wonderful hangout and his own group that he's developed and the reasons for that. I just loved our conversation that we had about that. Keeping it simple. The other thing that, and it's something that I like to bring to people's attention, this is not a company where we have only been around for a little bit of time, and we're not in the middle of a launch, and we're trying to still prove ourselves. We are well proven. We have multi-millionaires part of our business as results of this business. We have new and upcoming millionaires almost, you know, every month as they're growing, and it is one of our leaders' biggest goals is to have 100 millionaires produced from this business a year. So it is a powerful, I like to call almost movement that we're belonging to here, because we truly come from our hearts when we're here talking to people about this business. Yes, we are trying to encourage you to look into what we offer here, because it is an amazing value for you. and what you can do for the rest of your life and your families, and to achieve the goals that you may have in your mind that maybe right now you're not feeling you can attain and don't know how you can do it. I may have felt like that too, and then when I saw the commission plan here, the pay plan, the community that I felt at home with, that I felt like a family to, I knew I had found where I wanted to be. And that's kind of all important to be part of that. But I also saw the reality of my dream coming true here because of the financial plan. And so it is all part of that, and it's important for us to share this as many times and with as many people as we can to allow all of you to know that this is a proven fact of what we're doing. This is not just hearsay, it's not just theory. It is proven every day, and people are having results, and the lives are changing. Lives are actually being saved, believe it or not, which, gets to be kind of, a big wow, like, really? Oh yes, people have become so desperate and not thinking that there's another way to make a living or to have success or to even feel good about themselves. And we have changed people's lives through our products, through our audios, and so many other things. And so it is just a phenomenal place to be, and it is well proven. Scott, talk to me a little bit about your group and your boast for why you decided to, start it, and a little bit about the conversation we had with regard to the concept behind it.
Well, the reality is, as I said earlier, it's really not about me having the success and me being the only one to be successful. It's really something where real success is when other people have results. And to me, I find that that's something that's important. And I know, Jesse, you believe the same thing from our conversations that we've had. And really to have the ability to be working as a community, working together and sharing our results, sharing what we learned, sharing the things that help to create results for everyone is important, because this is not about me being the only one that has a success. It's more about us working together as a team, working together as a group. And when you have that type of support, it really gives you the ability to work through the challenges, because let's face it, when you have a business, there's going to be things that are going to come up, and you want to share, knowing that you've got other people there that are pulling for you, and then also you can share your wins as well. So it's not all about just having some place to go when things are challenging. It's also sharing when you do have success and results, and really working together as a team. And that is something that helps to pull us all together in the same direction. And when you've got that, that really is where real results can come from. And when you've built a real support group, it's easier. It's because then you're not working by yourself. Because let's face it, there's a challenge when you're working from home. You're home. You're sitting there with your computer. You're in a lot of ways you can feel isolated. And to give people a place to be able to go for support really can help you, through that. And let's face it, a lot of times as you're getting into this, it's almost like you're learning a foreign language. And you have to realize that as I said before, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And you can stay the course when you know that there's other people that are going through the same things that you are, or the people are sharing things that they found to work, or they're sharing their results. And those kinds of things really, as a community, as a team, as a tribe, if you will, you really can push through and share in things that you've learned along the way. So I believe in that strongly, and I feel that that's really the best way to be in a business. What happens so many times, you get into a home business, and you know, what really happens is, you know, the people that are having the success, excuse me, aren't necessarily sharing the things that they've learned or the things that they've found, and you know, they're not that approachable, or you know, for whatever reason, you know, you're in that position. Well, you know, that to me is not the best of ways to really build a success. It's really to do it together as a team and really share in the good and the bad. And that, you know, is something, you know, like I know, Jesse, you and I, you know, when we talked about it, you know, I know that you believe the same thing, and that really is the secret to success here.
Really, truly is. That is so amazing. I mean, we do teach to have people be self-sufficient. Yes, it is a foreign language, and although I was in technologies, I wasn't as familiar with internet marketing, and that was totally new and foreign to me. So there was a lot of um, let's say, you know, newness to learning and knowing where to go and how to go about it. Yet at the same time, within this business, we do set people through, you know, from beginning to end, step by step, with the newbie kind of training to being able to have our hangouts like we do here, and you do as well, and giving some additional offerings of training, access to us through these trainings, so people see us one-on-one more or less. They're not just reading pages or information. We offer the videos. And beyond that, we also say, you know, just put it into Google and ask a question, and wow, what a concept. And there's just tons and tons of information out there so that you can become more self-sufficient. And with all of that happening, you grow. You grow and you learn, and then when you learn, you share. And while you grow and learn, and then you train or share with others, you're just becoming better and better, and you're becoming that pro side of the story as opposed to that beginner any longer. And it is amazing. And at the same time, this is a process. And so all of this is part of it, and it's a lot of fun when you make those small wins. Now, he mentions that, and a lot of times we think, oh, we need to demonstrate large volumes of money that we just earned. And you know, no, it's not what we're talking about only when we say your wins. We're talking about, did you get a couple of leads from a new ad you just promoted? That's exciting, and you should share that, and that is something you need to celebrate. And we celebrate with you here because it's all about us encouraging you to keep moving forward, and that one or two leads is a big deal, especially when you're doing things. And and as you begin to actually progress, you will have bigger wins. That's the whole thought process, is that as long as you don't quit, you don't fail. All right? That's true failure, is when you absolutely quit and give up on yourself. And so in my mind, failure is not a bad word. It isn't a bad word at all. That failure just indicates to us that we need to change what we're doing in order for us to have the results we're looking for. So we just have to redirect ourselves a little better. And so I think the failure's gotten a bad rap as far as that word. It just means we need to change. And none of us like that feeling of having to change something, but it is an indicator that means that we just really need to shift and make a difference in what we're doing. And we're going to find that, oh, wow, something better was over here after all. So that's kind of how I look at that. And so I don't know about you. Do you feel that way?
Well, you know, certainly it's the best of ways to get results is really focus on your goals and believe that you can create them. And as long as you're moving toward them, whatever path you take to get there is okay. You know, what most people really, you know, one of the great analogies is, you know, it's almost like they expect to become a college graduate, the first day that they go to school. And what really when you realize that that's not ever going to be the case, what it is a process. You need to focus on that graduation and the knowledge that you're going to gain along the way, rather than each grade as you're going through it, because ultimately you have a goal. You're going somewhere. You're looking to accomplish something. And too many times people just don't stay the course, and they don't go through the process to get to the end result. So the whole idea is to have the ability to be encouraged through the process, to get certainly results that will encourage you along the way, but realize that you don't have to be the total expert to be able to get to the point where you can have a result is really important. And that's something that I like to share with people, because it is a process. And what you'll find is along the way you're gaining knowledge, you're gaining strength, you're gaining belief, and as you're building all those things and you're adding to your education, if you will, then that's where the results will come. And too many times people feel that they've got to have this this earth-shaking or moving result to be successful, and that's not necessarily the case, because it's all part of the process, and one builds upon the other, like you were talking about. For an example, just the idea that you can actually generate a lead or create a result, or get someone through what you've learned. So learning, applying, and then getting a result, that's a big win. And it doesn't mean that you have to have $1 million in your bank account. It means that you've accomplished something. And when you focus on what you're accomplishing, rather than, like you said, comparing or doing things to really feel that your standard has to be their standard, well, no, that's not true. Most of the people that you see that are having great success have really paid their dues to get there. It wasn't like an overnight. It may appear that way sometimes, but the reality is it's a process, and it's something that you have to focus on and really take it step by step. So, as long as you can stand back with the perspective, then it makes it easier to stay the course. So, I agree with you.
So, thank you so much. And we're getting close to the end of our hangout. I usually run about 30 minutes to 45, and I think what we offered here in today's hangout honestly has been tremendously powerful for anyone listening, that there is an awful lot of value in what you were sharing with us, as well as the information to be absorbed and know that this community, this business, this particular company is led by leaders with a huge why that we stay focused on, and most of it is about the team. Us, we as individuals are very, very important. And if you ever get an opportunity to read the book Start With Why, I think you'll know where we're coming from, because with that book I just saw and talking about the confidence that you feel around this business and how our leaders run their business, and that all the leadership council all are on the same page, and we are focusing on the same why. With that in mind, don't lose the scope of what this business is all about. So that's why we know and we believe we will be around for a very, very long time. And I think at this point, for all of you out there listening who may be part of the team, brand new, if you haven't been part of this today, I encourage you to click the button below, get started, see what we're really, really all about. Trust, make that decision, and trust in yourself that this knowing that what you're searching for and why you're even here is because this is for you, and that you are here with a solid business. That yes, it does require your focus and your dedication to it, but now you have the hope and the vehicle that will get you to where you are looking to go. And we are all here, Scott, his team, and our team all together. We're all really one big team. We really don't have a hard line between teams at all as far as where you can go to get assistance. And so, again, click the button below. I'm here for you. And Scott, I want to thank you once again. You have no idea how honored I am to have you on this call. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk with you. You have so much that you know, and passion that you offer when you speak. And I am so thoroughly thankful for you joining us here today.
Well, thank you for having me, Jesse. And really, what I can say is if you're looking to get into a business, you want to be involved with with Jesse, because what she brings to this is a real passion, a concern, a wanting to connect and help people, and that's really what you're looking for in someone when you're looking to get into a business. You want to know that the person is real, they're genuine, they believe in what they're doing, and that they want truly to see you have the success that you get and or deserve. And Jesse, you bring that to the table. So that's certainly just by doing these hangouts, what what you're doing is sharing, and that's listen to me, I got a frog working here, and that's really where results can come from. So as Jesse had said, push the button, get involved with Jesse. She's here to help, and we're doing this as a community, as a team, and certainly we want to see you get the success that you deserve. So thank you for having me, and I enjoyed sharing with you, and look forward to seeing you grow your business as well, and doing this together is always the best way.
Thank you so much, Scott. Everyone out there, thanks again for attending. I will see you next Tuesday at 10 a.m., same place, same time, and have a great week. Take some of this information. Hope you took some notes. We like to call those uncashed checks. Take those notes. Go over them. Listen to this hangout at least, until next week. You can, listen to this several more times and take action. And we look forward to seeing you very, very soon. And I look forward to seeing all of those that have not joined or not part of this business on the other side. Take care. Bye-bye.